Hello and welcome to this edition of Celebrating Success. I'm your host, Dave Cox. This show is very unique in that it is 100% produced, written, directed, etc., by students in the Digital Media Productions program at the Wexford Misaki Career Tech Center. And every show we have a special guest. Speaking of the Career Tech Center, or CTC, our special guest today is the CTC Director, Tim Rigling. Tim, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, good morning and pleasure to be here.
Awesome, it's great. You know, you talk about celebrating success, the Tech Center. A lot of people out there probably don't know exactly what the Tech Center does. So tell us a little about yourself first, and then we'll dive into the Tech Center.
Certainly. I'm the Director of Career and Technical Education for actually the ISD. We are a parent of the ISD, or part of the ISD, and what we do at the Career Tech Center is we're educating kids, right? We're trying to get all students, as many as possible at the Career Tech Center, to do career and tech ed training. So this is my 5th year as a director and my 15th year at the Career Tech Center here in Cadillac.
Excellent. You know, and you look out, I see the students that are operating these cameras, and I know
Absolutely.
there's a crew back behind the scenes here doing all the audio and video production piece of that. So
Yeah.
how cool is that? Tell me how that occurred. How did this come to be?
Oh yeah, well we have a digital media production program, and that is just over 10 years old now. That started in Cadillac schools, and there came a point where we took that over from Cadillac as part of a career tech ed program. We've developed it over the years. It's grown. We've got over 50 students in that program now. Along the way, we have a great relationship with the NewsNet here in Cadillac, and this is their studio actually. And we have a partnership with them where our DMP students get to come here to the studio and produce programs, produce stuff for CCTV and any other things. It's that opportunity to have students in a actual setting, a real live setting, a real
absolutely.
A real
Studio.
Yeah.
And broadcasting.
That's in
How cool is
broadcasting.
that?
So,
I love it, yeah.
So I'm happy to see these students here.
Yeah,
and
that's success.
Hopefully they're happy to be here too.
I'm sure they are. They're all smiling back there
Yeah.
doing their job. So besides the digital media program, which is awesome, and that's again one of the reasons that we're here, we have this show,
Yeah.
what else is going on at the Tech Center? Give us a little background, because there's got to be lots of things. The viewer may not know. Again, we've had open houses over the years that you've talked about. People come through as tours, it's like, I never knew. Tell us.
Yeah, you know, the Career Tech Center has been around since 1971, and we actually service, right now there's 11 school districts that come to the Career Tech Center, over 700 students. So we see about 50% of all juniors and seniors come to the Career Tech Center. So our intermediate school district, locally we have 7 schools. We call them the M's: Marion, Mesick, Manton, and McBain, and then Pine River, Cadillac, and Lake City are our local schools that come here, as well as Northern Michigan Christian and Heritage Christian. And then we have some outside districts that come to our center from Bear Lake, from Brethren, from Houghton Lake, and from Grayling. So a lot of students, over 700 students every day, come through our doors.
Wow, that's a lot of students.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned, what was the percentage of juniors and seniors?
About 50% of all juniors and seniors end up coming to our Career Tech Center. So the idea is that local school districts can't afford to offer the programming that we offer. We have 15 different programs, and we'll talk about those programs in a minute, but those 15 programs can be very expensive to run. And a local school district, especially a smaller school district, would not be able to afford to run those programs at their local high school. So the idea of a Career Tech Center and intermediate school district is that we can offer those services. Those students then bus in from the local school district and spend 2.5 hours a day in the morning or 2.5 hours a day in the afternoon in one of our 15 career-driven programs.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, to take this program as an example, you get digital media, we've got a studio. All those 11 districts couldn't have a studio, so they come here to have that opportunity. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So if you think about, you know, just some of our programs where we have an automotive program, we have a welding program, and these are complete shops. These are labs that have industry standard equipment. So students are working every day on, you know, we have over 30 welders. We have 7 or vehicle lifts in our automotive program. So some of those programs are very expensive to run.
Oh, I can't imagine.
And so we have a charter millage, thanks to our taxpayers who pay for that. that opportunities for these kids, and that millage then pays for the programming that we offer.
So there's no cost to the local districts to send them?
There's no cost to the local school districts.
Because of that millage, that taxpayers, thank you taxpayers, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you said 11, so you counted the ones in the M's and the Cadillacs.
Yeah.
What are the other districts?
So the other ones are out of district school, out of our intermediate school district. They are Bear Lake Brethren, Houghton Lake, and Grayling.
Grayling.
Yeah, Grayling comes a long
That's
way.
a haul. It's a
So
Cadillac.
those schools came and visited us, and because they don't have the programming that we offer at our center. They have some career tech ed programming, but they felt that they wanted their students to have a little bit more. So they came in looking towards us, liked what they saw at our center,
very nice.
and asked how could we be a part of that. So those students have to, or those school districts actually pay a tuition to come to our district because our charter millage is a local millage, local tax dollars. So because they're out of our district, they pay a tuition to come to us, and they're glad to do it because they know it's a great opportunity for their kids.
Wow. So how do those students determine what program and how do they get here? Even the Cadillac kids, how do they get to the tech center?
Right.
How does that work?
So a lot of it's about education because you think if you're a 8th, 9th, 10th grader in a local school, what do you want to do for your future? Do you have a career
do any
plan?
of us know, right?
Do any of us really know? So it starts out with education. We have 8th grade tours where we take all of the 8th graders in our local districts and some of our outlying districts, and we tour the Career Tech Center. We have them come in. And then we have 10th grade tours where those students can come back, choose 3 of our programs they may be interested in, and then visit those programs for about 45 minutes on another tour day.
How many programs can they choose?
They could choose 3 to
for
take
that
a look at.
45-minute tour. Got
So
it.
by then we hope in 10th grade they've got kind of an idea of their career focus, or at least we know whether they like to work outdoors or with their hands, or they're more of a computer person or that sort of thing. So, and then it's a sign up at the local district. So the local school counselors then work with these students and say, are you interested in the Career Tech Center, and what program do you want to take? Unfortunately, we have a large demand in our center. With 771 students, our programs are pretty much full. So they have to know what they want to get into, and we know that there are times that there is no, the program may be closed, or the program
So it's a little
may be
bittersweet.
full.
You've got 700 students, but you also have some students that may not get in because you're full.
Right, not
so
have
it's
that
kind
opportunity. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, but yeah, that's the process. Each school is allowed a certain number of slots, which that they can sign their students up for. Once our local school districts have signed up every student that they feel is interested and eligible to go to the Tech Center in May, then we open it up to our outside districts, and then
the Graylings. And
they kind of get what's left over.
They get, sure.
Because we want to give opportunities to our local school districts.
Well, kudos to you for having the opportunity for those out of service area students, right? Because that's an opportunity that they may otherwise have not had. Granted, there's a cost to that district, so kudos to that school as well for saying, you know what, it's worth it. We'll pay you to get those kids that opportunity.
Certainly, we're all about students, and well, I don't care where we're serving students. If we can give an opportunity for a kid to learn a trade or be able to take one of our programs, we're going to open it up to them.
Love it. You know, you mentioned 8th grade and 10th grade tours. On the way in, we were talking about, like, today is Manufacturing Day. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's interesting.
Yeah. There's a National Manufacturing Day, and every year we try to get every 9th grader get a manufacturing tour.
Every 9th grader?
Yep, every 9th grader in our local school districts. So we have over 800 9th graders today that are visiting local manufacturers. We're really grateful that the manufacturers are welcoming them in. So they get an hour-and-a-half tour at one manufacturer in the morning, get a little lunch, and then they have an afternoon tour at a second manufacturer. So the idea is to get these students exposed to careers in manufacturing.
Absolutely.
And the opportunities. And what they learn is that it's more, they have that factory mindset, and they realize that, boy, every factory has an accountant, every factory has a business manager, every factory needs all those support people as well. So the opportunities in manufacturing are vast.
That's a great point.
Right.
I mean, the frontline worker who might be connecting things or assembling stuff, it's way beyond that. It's an excellent point.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned a little bit about your enrollment and maybe being a little full in the sense you might have a waiting list for some programs.
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking any steps to address that? Tell us what the future holds for the tech center.
Yeah, well, actually, our growth has come from a couple of different areas. First of all, last year we opened up an educational careers program.
Careers. Tell us about that.
That's for seniors, yeah.
Okay.
We know that there's a huge teacher shortage.
Yes, there
and in
is.
this area, every one of our schools needs qualified, certified teachers. And our Ed Careers program is designed for students that think they want to be a teacher. So we bring them in, we give them some curriculum that first marking period, and then we send them out on job shadows or experiences out at their local school districts. So they're just finishing up learning kind of what teaching is all about, some of those what we call pedagogical training that they need. And then for the next 8 weeks, they'll be at their local school. Maybe they'll be in an elementary class or a middle school class. Their area of focus, last year we had a couple of students that wanted to be music teachers. So they would go back and be with their music teacher.
So when they're with that teacher, or whether it's music or art or science or whatever, are they teaching? Are they actually doing like teaching kids, or are they just kind of hanging out?
Yeah, they are delivering lessons. They're asked to deliver lessons from time to time, support kids in small group instruction, really all those things you need to do to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And that gives them the opportunity to learn what it is to be a teacher before they spend 4 years going to college, right?
That's a great point. And for free.
Yeah, and the result of that is that depending on what school they go to, they can get up to 8 credits, college credits, towards their teaching degree by taking this Ed Careers program.
8?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a great opportunity. So that increased our enrollment, right? We opened up another classroom, brought in more students. And we've always known that we have a couple of programs that are traditionally full. Our welding program has, over the last 10, 12 years, been full with a waiting list. So we're excited. We're looking to do an expansion of our welding program, which will tie into also our manufacturing technology program. And we're planning to expand to allow even more students into that program. We'll have to also probably increase our staffing as well. Right now we can fit about safely 25 students into that program, so we'd like to get it up to 35 students per session and hopefully eliminate that waiting list. So
I like the word safely, because I'm picturing those labs and that being opportunities for people to get injured. So that's probably certainly paramount on your guys' mind.
Number one, priority in our programs is safety of our students. So.
And on the way here, I noticed too, you talk about the welders. What was the other program you mentioned? Because I see for hire, welders for hire. I see all the manufacturers, the foundry here, AAR, all these companies around here for hiring for students.
And actually all of our programs, there's a huge demand, and we do have co-op opportunities for
co-op. What's that? Talk to us about that.
For these students. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So a student that's successful their junior year will be offered opportunity, possibly as their senior year, to be a co-op student. And that means that they, rather than come to the Career Tech Center 3 or 4 days a week, they will go out to a business and work for them. They work. They get paid a little bit to do that.
So I get paid to go to work and not be in class?
And not be in school, right? Yeah. So, and what that allows the manufacturer is that they need employees, right? So they bring them in as co-op students. They get some extra benefit out of having the student there, as well as some training for the student. And then we hope that once the end of the year comes, that they hire those students full-time. Or those students decide, hey, I want to go to college, and they may even continue that relationship with that manufacturer or that business, and stay in the community.
That's great. So, you mentioned college. I'm going to circle back. You had mentioned some credits that those students got in that teacher academy, right?
Yes. Right.
Do you have any other opportunities for that in any of the other programs, college credits?
Certainly, yeah. We have what we call an early college program.
Early college program.
A lot of opportunities for students.
Yeah, a lot of success going on there,
Our early college program, 7 of our programs offer it. What that is that students come to the Career Tech Center for the first 2 years, elect to be in the early college. During that time, they get certain credits, what they call articulated credits. By taking the course at the Career Tech Center, they automatically get credit for courses that they would have normally taken once they graduated and went off to college.
And these are no cost?
No cost.
No cost to that student?
And then, the student has a 13th year. They graduate from high school. And then on the 13th year, they continue with this early college opportunity, finish the curriculum, and will end up either with an associate's degree or a certificate in 1 year out of high school. The best part about it is it's absolutely free for the student.
Free.
No cost.
An associate degree for free.
For free.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a great opportunity for students. There's some eligibility requirements to that, but really focused on helping students get into college. It might be first-time college students, first member of their family that ever went to college. Give them an opportunity to get in and get that degree and further themselves.
That's just that's
so
just,
7 of
when
our
you add that up,
programs.
I just can't imagine what the cost of an associate degree is. And then to have that student or the parent, right, who's going to be, hey, that's free, that's a great opportunity.
Exactly.
Do you think that's helped with enrollment at all, as far as where you're at now?
It has.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is now we have parents come in and they're actually seeking out those programs.
Okay.
They're asking us during our open house, say, hey, what programs have early college? That's where I want to push my kid. And we try to say,
not to push the kid,
let's
it's up
not
to the
push your
student.
kid into that area.
Let the student decide.
We really want to make sure it's the right position for the kid, right fit for the kid.
Yeah. But I get it.
But that opportunity, that idea that my son or daughter can go to college and we can afford to do it is a great incentive for families.
And if you do the math, money aside, but years of school, because typically a bachelor degree is 4+, 5, right? So you could potentially get a bachelor degree, right? 2 years out of 2 years, 3 years, 2 years.
It'd be 3 years
out of high school versus 4 or 5. So again, you're saving time. You're getting that person degreed and maybe in the workforce. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Besides college credits, because you mentioned welding, and I'm a welder by trade, actually, background welding.
Right.
I had to get certain certifications in order to do certain processes. Is there any of those types of opportunities embedded in any of the programs?
Absolutely. The world has changed a little bit. There's still that need for students to go to college and have those associate's degrees or bachelor's degrees. But with the rise in the technologies we have these days, there's more and more demand for students to have certificates. Certifications that say they can do a particular skill set. So all of our programs offer some sort of certification. In welding, for example, they have AWS sense testing. American Welding Society puts out, that's a nationally recognized organization that puts out a set of standards to say if a student can do this amount of work and this quality of weld, then they are certified to do that particular weld.
Very nice. And employers are looking for that?
And employers are looking for that. So in our computers program, our CNET program, it is A+ certification or Net Plus certification. And it's more and more that when people
It's a computer thing you're mentioning.
It's a computer thing.
We don't know what that stuff stands for, right? But yeah, it's a computer thing.
So when they go on job interviews, employers are actually looking for those certifications. And in many ways, they'll say, oh, you're A+ certified. I know what you can do. If you want to go on to college and further your degree and move up the steps, that's great, but I'll hire you right now based on that certification.
You have other programs that have similar, at least credentialing, if
yeah,
you will?
Yeah, our automotive and our heavy equipment program, they both work under the ASE, Automotive Society, and they get certified every year, and that could be in 3 or 4 different areas. So I think they do electrical, brakes, and steering and suspension. They'll get certified in those areas, so when they walk into an automotive dealership and say, I'd like to be an automotive technician, well, what do you know? Well, here's my certifications.
Yeah, which is covered in the class. The instructor checks it off, and there's some form of an assessment that verifies that.
At the end of the year says we're ready to go.
That's excellent. So kind of switching gears a little bit, like this program here, we have the studio. Are there any other, which means the students are bused here, right? They go to the tech center, they're put on another bus, they come here to work in this real studio, Are there any other programs that have similar situations that you're going beyond the building, the walls of the tech center?
Absolutely. Our big relationship we have for our health students is at Munson Hospital. We have a classroom at Munson Hospital, and those are for our second-year students. So the first-year students are in our our allied health program at the Career Tech Center, and then the second year they go to the hospital, and that's where they work on their certified nurse assistants or
So they're actually at the hospital here in Cadillac.
Yep, so they're bused over to Cadillac.
Okay.
What the great advantage of that is that they are now in a very professional setting. They are able to interact with the hospital staff, and they have quick access to different departments. Of course, COVID limited that for a couple of
especially
years.
Hospital, yeah.
You know, but we're looking forward to getting back this year to say, hey, today we're taking a tour of radiology, or today we're going down to the ER and seeing what goes on in that area.
So if my child wanted to be let's say a surgeon, they would go through that program,
Right.
or a nurse or anything in the health field. What if they want to be a dentist? Would they still take that?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
because some of those basic patient care skills and those CPR, first aid, medical terminology,
Sure, all the foundation of
all those
healthcare,
foundation
yeah.
things that
They get that.
they get that foundation, and then they do walk away with a credential, which is the certified nurse assistant. They may never use that, or they may never go into that as for a career, but they could certainly get a job in a extended care facility while they're working their way through college.
So let me get this straight. So these students, let's say a Grayling student gets on a bus, comes to the tech center, gets on another bus, goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
So the classroom is actually in the hospital.
In the hospital, and we have a little lab there
cool is
too,
that?
where they
That's
practice,
That's great.
moving patients and blood pressure.
Real hands-on experience, not just in
true
a lab
hands-on
setting.
experience.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and then the other really off-site place we have is at the is our Applied Construction Technology program.
Okay. Tell us
So
about that, yeah.
we build a house every 2 years.
Who's we?
We, the the students
The
do.
students
in
do.
Applied Construction
Wow.
Technology, yeah. Every 2 years, we build a house from the ground up. So we have a lot, we purchase a lot.
Picturing kids with shovels
Yep,
and
kids
doing everything.
Day one. And we do hire some contractors. Obviously, we don't want to have a bunch of kids with shovels digging a basement.
Yeah, it's a big hole.
It's a big hole.
It's a big hole.
And
work.
some of those other things, they require that you have people that are certified to do that. You need an electrician, you need a plumber, you need a HVAC person. But those people, we won't hire anybody or contract anybody to do that work unless they're willing to work with kids.
Oh.
So if a
So they
student,
can be exposed to that some
so
way.
they can be exposed to it.
That's great.
So the students come in, and if they spend the 2 years there, they are going to experience every aspect of building a house, starting with the hole in the ground to pouring the walls, the foundation, the drywall, the electrical, the HVAC,
That's
the
excellent. That's excellent.
outside and the roof, and right now, in fact, it's raining today, but I'm sure yesterday they had scaffolding.
It was
up,
beautiful
and-
yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, those students
Sure.
were up in the on the roof, learning how to put down shingles and all
That's
that.
awesome. And what do you do with the homes when you're done?
We put them up for sale.
Oh.
We work with a local realtor, and they go for sale for anybody who's interested in owning them. People love our houses because we have no reason to cut corners.
That's
Right.
That's an excellent point.
Our students are building them, so we don't have a lot of labor costs. Material, yeah, we have to usually use 2 boards to every one because students are learning how to.
What do they say?
cut
Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah,
They're measuring
exactly.
not at all.
Right.
I'm
So
just kidding,
we
but
use
yeah.
a lot of extra materials, and we build them solid
Excellent.
because we have no reason to cut corners, and then we sell the house, and then of course the proceeds from that house go right back into the program to
So it just
buy
regenerates
materials for
so
the
you
next
can.
house.
Got it. That's
Right.
that's excellent.
So we're really excited. We have bought a larger parcel, 30 acres, which is right next to the ISD, and we're excited about
A lot of houses.
putting in a lot of houses
Wow.
in one area, doing a
Excellent.
development,
Wonderful.
putting in a road and a subdivision, so that we can really know that program will be extended out for the next 30
Wow.
years.
You got a lot going on.
We do.
I mean,
We're
it's
busy.
it's interesting, and I hope our viewers learned a little bit, because I think we could probably talk for another hour or two
Yeah, you
about the
may have to have me
opportunities.
back. Right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So just being in this studio again with the students, which is all part of the CTC, you know, and you talk about celebrating success, there's so much that you've already shared with us, and there's probably a lot more you could, but
Absolutely.
so thank you, Tim. We appreciate you being here. That's our
My
latest
pleasure.
edition of Celebrating Success. Our special guest was Tim Rigling, the director of the Career Tech Center at the WMISD Center. Thank you very much.